Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual, however you may be. Thank you all for tuning in. Doing another car cam. This is called Global Affairs Heat Up. I'm watching it. I'm looking at all of it. I talk about this because some of you all have asked me to, and to give you my perspective from a biblical standpoint. So you can follow this every day and be really consumed with it. And so I'm not going to be consumed with it, but I did leave several car cams this week because things are fresh as they unfold. So I just wanted to share with you what's going on. And normally, I would be getting my lesson prepared for the Sabbath and Friday night Bible class, which is tonight. But this weekend, we're going to be blessed with a guest. So I'm going to room for that. I share a little bit more on that with you later on. But things globally are heating up. Okay, so let's start with Venezuela. Venezuela is a country where America gets oil from. Okay? And we're talking globally right now. I'll spend a few minutes on each one. Maduro and Guaido, they're two opposition leaders. Both have declared themselves presidents. Maduro, who's in charge, is supposed to, I guess, on normal terms, leave out, but he's not. There's a near civil war going on in Venezuela, but Maduro, you'll see people fighting in the streets, and you wonder whose side is the police officers on. Well, come to find out, the military and the police are backing Maduro. That's not good for the U.S. because you're actually going to go in and disrupt. You're backing a person who doesn't have the military backing. If you don't have the military backing, then you're just a leader that's walking and nobody's behind you. And as John Maxwell once said, if you think you're a leader, turn around. And if there's nobody behind you, you're only taking a walk. In this situation, turn around. Whoever the military is behind, the guys with the guns and the tanks and the jeeps and all of the armored vehicles, whoever they are behind, that's who the president is. And they're behind Maduro. I think I'm saying his name right. What does all of that mean? You got the United States, Canada, and Europe backing Guaido, and that's the elected who does not have the military behind him. He's got countries behind him. But on the other hand, Maduro has China, Japan, they have China, Russia, Turkey, that big area behind him. And so it is what it is. So he's got American diplomats have until Sunday to get out. If they don't, then we'll see. Okay, so that's what's happening globally in Venezuela. Let's talk about Britain. Britain continues to have internal turmoil because they voted themselves out of the European Union. They have to because they're not a part of Catholicism. And the EU is the treaties of Rome. It's the 10 toes. They have to leave. but now there's turmoil on the conditions in which they are going to leave. And so you have a lot of other smaller countries, such as Scotland, Ireland. They want to make sure that because they're under British rule, that they leave out in such a way that it does not have an economic impact. They feel that Britain should not just think about their own country, but they got to keep Ireland and Scotland and all of the other areas that's under them under consideration. One of the biggest concerns is internally they don't agree, and of course a bad agreement can disrupt Ireland again, because things have been calmed in Ireland and North Ireland, and that's a vicious fight if things don't get up going there good. And let's talk about what else is going home. Let's talk about globally, domestically. How you doing, Drama Queen? Let's talk about domestically. Domestically, we still have a government shutdown. I believe that either today or Monday, it will be the second paycheck that government workers do not get. And as a result, people are going on missing 2 car payments, 2 house note payments, credit card payments, and it goes on and on and on. And our prayers go out to all of those workers who have tight budgets. The Drama Queen says the shutdown is over for at least 3 weeks. That must be brand new news, because as of this morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning, I didn't get that. So if that's the case, then hopefully those that have not been getting a paycheck will get a paycheck. So that's good. Thank you, Drama Queen. So that's brand new. That's hot off of the press. She says, yes, the press conference was just on TV. So that's great. That's great. That's great news. That's great news. So hopefully things will get on par. And let me tell you, it's in America's best interest, because you got people coming across the Mexican border like a floodgate, because they were trying to capitalize on the shutdown. And what you have going on in Venezuela, Honduras, and Mexico recently, yesterday, just said, hey, from the south of our border, let them in. We're sending them straight to the border of U.S. So that's what's happening. Okay, so now, as I was sharing with you, there's only so much of this that you can follow and look and see how it lines up scripturally, because it's always fluctuating. You cannot read into it. The only thing I can tell you, that we are living in a time that you must be financially prepared and always have your shelves in your house stocked for at least 30, 60, 90 days, as best as your finances will allow you. That's what you need to do. Okay. What's going on in Israel? Let me talk about another issue that's called the ecumenical movement. The ecumenical movement is, it happened with Joel Osteen. There's several others that this has happened, where they have come together to say that we need to join in behind Pope Francis. So you've got Joel Osteen. There's another popular guy out there. I'll get his name, but just look up the ecumenical movement and you'll see something on it when you do a Google search on it. Some people have done some YouTube updates on it, but you gotta just just look at it and weigh how they present the information. The only way I'm presenting it is this, is that Rome is still in control. When people are under that doctrine, that society, the Romish Christianity, and you have all of the various denominations saying, let's break down the barriers, let's get behind it. Now, does that mean that the United Methodists and the Lutherans and the Protestants, that they're going to all of a sudden say that they are Catholics? No, that's not what they're saying. These are going to be walls that were invisible, that no longer exist. I understand that even the Seventh-day Adventists were brought into the table of the ecumenical movement. So check that out. It's not something to take lightly. But when Pope Francis came here, there was a lot of behind the door meetings, and those meetings are continuing. And they're continuing globally. And that's the word, ECUMENICAL, ecumenical movement. Look it out. Type it in your Google and see what's happening. What that simply means is that Rome is still in charge. Rome is gathering its support on a global level. So while all of this is going in, Israel is doing the same thing, because Pope Francis, under the pretense of let's all come together, that is what's going to open up the door for the abomination of the desolation to stand in the holy place, which is going to be the temple when it's being built in Israel, for him to stand there and to operate and to do what he has to do. When that happens, the Bible says, then shall be the 3.5 years of tribulation, and you're going to see things happen like you've never seen it happen before. Okay? So you want to know when the 3.5 tribulation is? The Bible tells us. Read Matthew, the 24th chapter. Read Matthew, the 24th chapter. So now you got the Euphrates River and that 200 million army of soldiers. Look who the players are. Look how China, Russia, and Turkey are saying, wait a minute, America, we on that guy's side in Venezuela. And then you got Europe and everybody else saying we on the other guy's side. Okay? So Russia wants to be there because of the oil. China wants to be there because Venezuela owes them a lot of money. Simple as that. And so you got Russia and China, they're coming together. Turkey's a little surprising. But this is why when you look at the ECU, this is why Britain has had a big problem, and that's what was used politically to come out, because prophetically Britain cannot be a part of the ECU, because those are Romish faith, Catholicism faith. That's why they call it the Treaties of Rome. Look it up. Don't listen to me. Look it up. Just type in ECU and Treaties of Rome. Wikipedia come up. It's going to show you that the European, ECU basically is a Treaties of Rome. So it's not me telling, I'm not just pulling this up. I'm telling you where to go look. Okay? So thank you, Drama Queen, for bringing that to our attention, to let us know that the government shutdown has been removed and that people are going back to work. It's good. It's good, at least for 3 weeks. And I hope that within 3 weeks, people get themselves together so that we don't have to face this, because this could have had a very bad economical spin on us going into 2019. It really could have. And so look at it. And I think some of the Republicans and Democrats, I think it's a total of 16 that said, wait a minute, let us get together, because we're going to send ourselves in a situation, and we got people coming across the borders right now. And you got to realize there's an opium and a heroin problem in the Northeast. States like Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, those little small New England states, their children are on the overdose load, on steroids. You thought the crack epidemic was bad? This is the crack epidemic on steroids, but it's opium. It's bad. Bad. Really, 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 really bad. Just put in, there's some news networks that have shared the information. I think CNN did a story on it. Fox did a story on it. Drama Queen says Pennsylvania also. Yes. Look at it. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's nationwide, but those states up there, it has been hit hard. Okay? I'm talking about wealthy money, the children of wealthy money. Okay? Overdosing. Lost generation. Gone. Gone. Burying kids left and right. Okay? Very serious of what's going on up there with this opioid and heroin addiction. So it's really serious. It's target a specific class of people, those that are in the upper class and upper middle class. Their children are experiencing this at a overwhelming rate of what you saw in the crack epidemic. This is on steroids. And, it's a change of how they are looking at it. Before, when it was a crack epidemic, they looked at it as a war on crime. Now it's a health issue. A lot of senators and the Congressional Black Caucus are bringing it to the attention of the DEA, FBI, to say, you kind of treated it different when it was crack. And now you're making a health issue. And they're not condemning them for making it a health issue. They're just saying we are consciously aware that when it was attacking a different group, your only resolution was to put a war on crime. And to this day, you got people doing 10, 15, 20 years sentences for having a little rock of cocaine, which was, they called it crack. And so they just simply saying, we want you to be aware. So now you got Senator Joe Biden, who's saying he's sorry for his approach using the war on crime when it came to crack. Hillary Clinton just apologized. There was another, and these are individuals who are now going to be running for president. So now that you got these senators in the Congressional Black Caucus are bringing it to the attention of those that are in the DEA and Homeland Security and FBI, they're bringing it to their attention that we are aware and we're conscious of the fact, we're not happy that these other people are going through this, but we're knowing and realizing that your approach is different because the faces are different. And we just want to let you know that we're aware. but also they're very supportive of the parents that have to go through this, because no parent, I don't care what color you are, should have to bury their children because of epidemics like this, because these drugs are coming across our borders. You don't grow opium in the United States, okay? You don't grow this in the United States. It's coming across the borders. Ricky says, you just answered the question that I was getting ready to ask. Yes. So, thank you, Ricky. So, you know, people are consciously aware. They're just simply saying, wait a minute. When that crack epidemic came, which is cocaine, that did not come into the disadvantaged community, your only way of dealing with it was ching chang, lock you up. Nobody wants to see children overdosed on crack. People lost lives, jobs on crack. And your way of addressing it was ching chang, boom, boom. Okay? Honestly, the opioid problem spread to middle age. Yes. You're right. You're right, Drama Queen. This thing is spread. It has hit the people in the Northeast, and it's amazing how certain improper uses of drugs attracts different cultures of people. And this particular drug with heroin has attracted those that are in the Northeast, that are upper middle class, upper class individuals, and their children. And of course, like I said, some of the congressional people saying, we realize we don't want to see anybody in America go through this. However, we notice that your approach is different. So now I'm running for president. I better apologize. This is what Joe Biden just did, because no doubt he's running for president in 2020. Hillary Clinton just apologized. No doubt she's running for president in 2020. I saw 2 other congressional people apologize for supporting the war on crime and not dealing with the situation from a different angle, because they're running for president in 2020. Okay? So, everybody wants to run against Donald Trump. I don't know if you're going to beat Trump. I don't know if it's destined for Trump to lose, because what has to happen, Russia and China has to become strong. And Russia and China can only become strong under this Republican platform. I'm not saying that the Republicans are ignoring it, but right now the Republican agenda is domestic. It's not global. And because the Republican format and platform that is in place now, the interest is domestic. It's make America great again. In order to do that, you got to bring your resources home. You got to strengthen the border. And when you do that, things on a global level become of less interest. I'm not saying no interest, but it becomes of less interest. And that allows Russia and China to strengthen itself. And that, brothers and sisters, on a biblical level, has to happen. It's destined to happen. And Britain is saying we need to concentrate domestically. So therefore, the European Union does not interest us. The European, the ECU does not interest us, because our dollar, which is the pound, has weakened. So you see how things are unfolding. So what do we need to do? We need to get into the word of the Most High God. If you never needed the Lord before, you sure do need him now. Because the scripture says, those that dwell in the safety place or the bosom of the Most High, that's where we're going to get our protection. The safest place is in the dwelling place of the Most High. That's where the safety is, and that's where we need to be at. Okay, that way, when these things happen, you look at them in a different perspective. You look at them from a biblical perspective instead of from a panic, political, I don't know what's going on perspective. Okay? Walk in his laws, statutes, and commandments in spirit and in truth. Thank you, Ricky, because that's what we got to do. If my people are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will heal them. Remember in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, Moses had already predicted that Israel was going to be scattered among the four corners of the earth. But then he also says, after you have been scattered, if you will return to him in the place where you have been scattered, then he will return the covenant agreement back to you. That's individually. That's family, not as a nation. Israel won't be gathered until the Most High returns. When he returns, then he will gather Israel one by one out of the nations where you have been scattered. So the only thing you can do right now is get closer to him, turn to his laws, statutes, and judgments, quit fighting him, quit saying that everything's been nailed to the cross. That's the best thing you can do right now. She says, where does it say that? Where does it say what, Drama Queen? Scripture. If my people are called by my name and humble themselves to pray, or what I was talking about what Moses said. If it's about what Moses said, that's in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Okay? That's Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Moses prophesied that Israel was not going to do right. I think that's what you're talking about. So I'm going to wait till you type and come back to that. Just so I can know what you're talking about. Okay, it started with their long Percocet addiction. Yes, they had a Percocet addiction. And then it moved to heroin to get high. Yes. What Moses says. Yes, the 4th chapter. Deuteronomy is a very good book to read because Moses told the children of Israel that they were not going to do right. The Almighty told Moses, you're not going into the promised land, but neither are the children of Israel going to keep the covenant agreement. He told them that they were not going to do it. He warned them. But he says, after you have been scattered into the lands, into the various countries, and this is, of course, you have to read Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, Deuteronomy, that it is a book that it's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. It's the last book that Moses wrote, and it was prophecy for Israel. In the 28th chapter, he told them that if you do this, God will do that. But if you don't do this, God is going to do this. But remember, he speaks the end at the beginning. So what he gave Moses in the 4th chapter was the destiny of Israel, because the Most High God knew that the children of Israel were not going to do right. So that's why in the 4th chapter, the way Moses is writing it, he's letting them know that you're going to be scattered. You're not going to do right. You're going to be the hard-hearted, most stiff-necked people that there is. But remember, the same law that is for Israel is for those that sojourn for Israel. So now that Israel has been scattered, everybody, including Israel, must return back to Torah. everybody. And that's why Paul, when you read what he says to the Jew first, then to the Gentile. So Israel, this covenant agreement is to Israel. I just read in Zechariah where God is angry at the nations for getting it all confused, that Israel is not in his protection. He says, Israel is the apple of mine eye. So we got to remember that Israel has a special love in the eyesight of God, but he don't have no problem punishing Israel either. And so therefore Israel got punished, and Israel's job was to teach the other nations. Israel failed to teach the other nations, and now the Almighty is saying to Israel, return and take up your job again, because this gospel has to be preached into all of the nations of the earth. And so tonight, that's why you're supposed to remember how to do the feast days. As Israel, you're supposed to learn how to do that. You're supposed to learn how to calculate it. So don't forget to do that tonight. So they don't want to bless us though, Ricky. Bless Israel. Yes, we're blessed. All of Israel is blessed. So listen, I got to go. I'm picking up my daughter. We'll talk soon. And happy Sabbath coming in. Don't forget to hit that like button. Before I leave, please do not forget to hit that like button. Okay? Please do not forget to hit the